So as expected, a little increase, pretty much in line with what we've seen before. But to be honest, OPEC's ability to actually deliver on that increase being questioned. Does OPEC have any control over the oil price anymore?
It's decided to sit this one out, I think it's fair to say. What's important here is that since the war in Ukraine started, we've had all sorts of convulsions in the global oil market, and OPEC has stuck exactly to the plan it had from before the war started. So for several reasons, it's not engaging. It is raising production, but very slowly. And as you say, Guy, it's not even delivering on those promises. Now, the UAE and Saudi Arabia still have some spare capacity. They could bring more oil to bear on the market. The White House would dearly love them to do that. But they've decided that the unity of the alliance, which includes Russia, of course, is more important. And for them, it's prudent just to continue doing what they were doing.
Well, this has been the third 13-minute meeting since the war in Ukraine began. A couple months ago, I spoke to Nigerian oil minister after that first 13-minute meeting. He said, we're still kind of monitoring developments. Well, it's been a couple of months now. I'm curious how much of this decision is a reaction to the supply-demand situation, as opposed to some of these OPEC members actually being able to meet their quotas, Russia included.
There is a bit of that, and of course Russia's going to be in a difficult situation with OPEC Plus because clearly Russian production is falling fast now, likely to fall more if the EU enacts the embargo it proposed yesterday and its sanctions on shipping, and it won't be able to get anywhere close to its quota. But there are two things that mean that the market is actually relatively subdued compared to what it might be, and that's probably giving OPEC some room to carry on doing what it was doing. Oil demand is very subdued in China because of the lockdowns that we've seen in Shanghai and rolling out over other parts of the country. We estimated a couple of weeks ago that demand was probably taken at least a 1 million barrel hit from that. And also we have the Biden administration's decision last month, or in late March rather, to release 1 million barrels a day from the strategic stockpile. So both of those things are keeping a lid on prices. Yes, we're high, we're well above 110, but we're a long way from the 139 we saw in the weeks after the war. And I think that's allowed OPEC some space to carry on doing what it planned to do without getting too much criticism from elsewhere.
At what point do we see that SPR release effectively being counteracted by the administration's plans to refill the SPR,
well,
which they're starting to announce now?
Yes, there's a story today that they're going to put out a tender in the autumn, in the fall, to start buying back some of that oil. 60 million barrels compared to the 180 million barrels that they plan to release, so it's not all of it. I think we need to see some more details exactly when. It's likely to be that tender will be for oil that doesn't get bought until 2023, perhaps even 2024, 25. So it's a slow, long-term process. I think the market may have got a bit overexcited about that headline.
Well, in the macrosphere, we're talking about persistent inflation, a lot of which is driven by these higher energy prices. Gasoline, diesel, for example, extremely high right now. How high is the expectation, or how long is the expectation of oil, that oil will remain over $100 a barrel? Are we talking months, years, a decade?
There's no reason to think that it would fall markedly from here absent a really dramatic slowdown in the economy, perhaps a recession and a knock-on effect on demand. But I think it's important to say, Kriti, that we're not seeing that. We had Shell announce record profits today on the back of these high oil and fuel prices. And the CEO, in a call with analysts, said that they are seeing no sign that these high prices are causing any sort of demand contraction. We can see that people are driving, people are flying, the economy is still working fairly fast, keeping diesel. So the economy at the moment is absorbing these very high prices. The real question is how long that lasts and whether we do get demand distraction later in the year. But it's important, I think, that the Shell CEO, Europe's largest oil company, said there's no sign of that yet.